Hello, darlings. This is Freedom, and you're watching Narc Free Formula. So, I have in my hands a crystal ball. I can see the future. No, I can't see the future, but what I can do is I can tell you 8 things that I guarantee the narcissist or sociopath or psychopath will say to you if you are trying to leave or when you've left to try and get you to come back. They are so predictable. As I said, it is almost like looking in a crystal ball. All right. So the first one is, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, baby, please. I'm so sorry. And they can say this with tears streaming down their face. They can say it with all the emotion that one would expect for someone who was feeling real remorse. But what it really means is, I'm sorry you caught me out. I'm sorry you're leaving me and taking your fuel with you. I'm sorry that you are leaving me before I have lined up new supply. Because that's the reality. They're not sorry about anything other than the fact that they got caught or that their plan didn't go quite to plan. You know, they're creatures of habit and control. They like to know that, you know, that they have control of a situation. They do not like losing control. They especially do not like when their possessions try and leave them. And in a narc's eyes, or a sociopath or psychopath, you are a possession, nothing more, nothing less. And once you have belonged, so once you have been owned by a narcissist, it doesn't matter whether or not, you know, they have anything to do with you. Years could pass. They still consider you as their property. And they don't like other people touching their toys. Even if they don't want to, you know, play with you, even if they put you up on the shelf and, you know, you've been sitting up there for a few years, it doesn't matter. They don't like people touching their things. You are now narc property. So anyhow, back to the apology. So when you hear the apology, just know that the only thing that they are sorry about is that they got caught. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background, but I've got a little bunny. My daughter has a little bunny rabbit. But for some reason, she's deciding that midnight is a really good time to get up and be really active. So she's jumping around in a little cage, making quite a bit of noise. So apologies if you can hear it. Okay, so the other one is, I've had an epiphany. I've had an epiphany. Or they can say, Jesus spoke to me and told me that we were meant to be together. I saw an angel. An angel came to me last night when I was falling asleep and showed me the error of my ways. And I realize now, because I had this clarity of vision that I've never had before, and all of a sudden it all made sense. I mean, this is the kind of just BS. I mean, quite literally, it's BS. You know it's BS. When you hear it, you know it's BS. But they'll try it on for size because, you know, that kind of authority that comes from God or an angel or an epiphany, you know, sometimes that carries a weight of its own. So, you know, when they're trying to convince you to stay, if they say, God spoke to me and told me that we are meant to be together. So if you're a religious person, you might be slightly swayed by that angle, but don't be, because they are pathological lies. God didn't speak to them. And if God did speak to them, that's not what God will be saying. God will be saying, you've been a very naughty boy. That's what God will be saying. All right. The next one, I'll get help. I'll change. So this ties in with the whole, I've realized that, you know, there's something wrong with me and I'll change. And usually when they say this, they'll say it because you have been telling them for a while that something's wrong, and you have probably suggested marriage counselling or seeing a therapist, or you've been trying to get them to talk to the priest or whoever it is that you confide in about these kind of things. So they've taken the cue from you, and what they're basically saying is, if you take me back, I'll do what you want. But the reality is, they're not actually going to do what you want. They're not going to go and get therapy. They will avoid it like the plague. The only way you might get them into therapy is if you quite literally said, I'm not coming back until you go to therapy. But even if you were to do that, please understand that they avoid it like the plague for a reason. They don't want to be caught out. So if they go into therapy, what they are going to do is lie. They're going to lie their asses off. They're going to tell that therapist whatever the therapist wants to hear, or whatever you've told the therapist. They'll put some little spin on it. They might even sit there and cry, and there might be a whole lot of waterworks and realizations, but it's all fake. Okay, you have to remember this. It's all fake. Okay, they're not going to open up to anyone for a start. They despise you. They despise everyone. So why the hell would they sit there and allow themselves to be vulnerable, allow themselves to be scrutinized, pulled apart, looked at? Like, they're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So if they, as I said, if they were to do it, so if you absolutely somehow manage to twist their arm and force them to do it, they will lie, or they'll get the therapist on their side telling you that it's actually your fault. That's another little narc dark art, but we'll talk about that in another episode. So they won't change. So it doesn't matter if they say they'll get help. They either won't, or they will. As I said, if you do manage to get them into counselling, they will turn the therapist against you, or they will say that they want to go and see the therapist first, and they will turn the therapist against you from the get-go, or they will say that they will get counselling, but just by themselves. They don't want you there. And then you have no idea what's actually going on. They'll manipulate and triangulate the situation. You'll be hearing things like, well, my therapist thinks that you're the problem, and my therapist says blah, blah, blah. And there's absolutely no way of proving or disproving anything, which is why they do it. So you're actually asking for, worse things to happen by trying to encourage them to go and see a therapist. Okay. Oh, you mean everything to me, or even worse, you and the kids mean everything to me. Oh, what you've always wanted to hear. You've spent all these years being second to everyone and everything, being given little snippets and little tiny bits of attention, but never getting, his full attention or his full, love or whatever. And now, just as you're leaving, he's saying to you, but you are the world to me. And it would be so easy to fall for something like that. For a line like that, to think, oh my God, he's finally realized we are everything, because you're a normal person. You're not disordered. You're not, pathologically manipulative, and, you just, as a non-disordered person, there is almost no way to actually understand the workings of the narc mind. But I can guarantee you that the only person in their world is them. You give fuel. That's what you do, you and the kids. It's all just fuel. You know, so when little Johnny wins an award and everyone goes, oh, look how smart little Johnny is. You know, that's when you'll see Dad all proud and everyone's giving him all the attention and he's lapping it up. You know, but when little Johnny's sick, 9 times out of 10, it'll be you looking after little Johnny, because parenting doesn't actually cover that kind of thing for a narcissist. There's more about this in another episode too, actually. Yeah, so they're appealing to your heart. You know, they're appealing to what you value because they know what you value. Because A, you tell them, B, they watch you, and C, you know, most normal people value family and value their partner and their children. But to a narcissist, the only value you have is as an appliance that gives them fuel. And so quite literally, they might have met, you know, let's just say a barmaid at the pub 2 weeks ago, right? You have been the wife for 12 years, but the barmaid that they met 2 weeks ago is of equal value to the narcissist. And that is a painful truth, but you have to realize it, because otherwise you fall for these corny lines. And they are just lines. Okay, this is the this is a great one. It's the alcohol that makes me this way. Or it's the drugs that make me this way. It's my mother-in-law. It's my mental health. It's my job. It's the other woman. So not only do they take zero responsibility and zero accountability for all of their wrongdoings, but now they're trying to say it's that thing over there. It's not me. It's that thing over there. And we can get rid of that thing. Okay? I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. We can get rid of that thing, whether it's the job or, you know, the mental health issues, the other woman. And there's a part of you that, you know, really wants to believe that, you know, maybe if the other woman was gone, or maybe if his mates, you know, that's another one. Oh, it's my mates. Maybe if the mates were gone, you know, maybe he would change. It doesn't matter who's around them, what's going on, where they work, what your mother's like, whether they're on drugs, alcohol, it does not matter, because these are not actually the problem. The problem is that whoever you are with has narcissistic personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder. Okay, that's the problem, and there's no getting away from that. So once again, the sooner that you can get clear on that, the sooner you can start to rebuild your life, because it's not a matter of if you're going to have to rebuild. It's just a matter of when. You can spend another 10 years doing whatever you're doing with this man. You know, you're still going to end up exactly where you are, and that is facing the fact that you have to leave, you have to get away, and you have to rebuild. So whether you waste another 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, you know, it's your life to waste. But, you know, for most people, that realization that it's not if, it's when, I think helps shift, you know, your thinking on the situation. All right, number 6. Oh, I've really fucked up. I'm so fucked up. Oh yes, buddy, you are. All right, so this one is when they're basically appealing to your humanity. They're just laying it all on the, you know, all the cards are on the table. I'm just so fucked up. I need you. You know, I can't do it without you. You know, I'm going to kill myself without you. Whatever. basically the underlying theme with this is, you know, they're useless without you. They're totally vulnerable, destroyed, damaged, and you are the only person that can save them. And that's a really, that's a really kind of it appeals to the side of us, that wants to protect and wants to save. And most of us have, a degree of nurturing, and we want to take care of the people that we love. So when they're saying to us, I'm fucked up, help me, please, that's hard to walk away. But you have to understand that, this is performance art. There's no real epiphany going on. There's no real realization that, yes, they are fucked up. They know that there's something pathologically wrong. Like, they're aware of it. They might even have the name for it, or they might not, but they know that there's something wrong with them. But first of all, come hell or high water, they're not going to ever admit that. I mean, they will send you on a wild goose chase. They'll say it's my mental health, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. They'll never actually come out and say, oh, I'm a sociopath or a psychopath or a narcissist. They're just not going to ever admit that. So, yes, they might be saying I'm fucked up, but they're not actually admitting to anything. They're not saying, oh, I have this problem and I need help. They're just, relying on the fact that you're going to be compassionate when you see them in such a desperate and pathetic state. And it is pretty pathetic. Like, they'll put on the tears and they will really bung it on. Like, they're getting desperate. By this stage in the game, if you still haven't taken them back or, gone back to them, like, they'll be getting pretty desperate. So appealing to your humanity in this way, they don't mind humiliating themselves. In fact, there is no humility. They don't really care. It's, they actually, if you could imagine, so when they put on the tears and when you give them a hug, so they've got the tears, and the second that you give them the hug, right, if you could see their face, because obviously you can't see their face because you're giving them a hug and their face is over your shoulder. But if you could see their face, it would kind of look like, ha ha ha, sucked in, you fell for it. That's what it would look like. They would be like, yes, sucker. Laughing at you, essentially laughing at you, feeling pretty smug and good about themselves, feeling like, yeah, my act worked. I mean, I've seen my ex put the tears on. Like, I know how easy it is for them to actually put on tears. Actual tears pouring down, and then go, oh, how good was that? All right, so what else have we got here? Oh, all right. The seventh one is the sympathy ploy, and this is the kind of thing where they say, look, before you leave, I just have to tell you something, and it's been really hard, and I've never really told anyone this before, but because I love you so much and because we're so close, if I don't tell you, I just know that I'll never tell anyone, so I have to tell you. And I know I've been really fucked up, but it's because I was abused as a child. Or what else? Insert. Or my dad used to beat me. I was sexually abused. I mean, they're the two main ones that they'll come out with. Or it'll just be, or my brother, my brother used to touch me up as a kid, or, there'll just be something. And it'll be something that is about abuse, something that is, so shocking that you won't think to challenge it because you'll just be so shocked. my grandmother sexually abused me. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that they'll come out with, knowing full well that grandma's been dead for 10 years, so there's no way of her even, being able to disprove it, or, this is kind of highly manipulative stuff. And once again, they do it because the end, what is that saying? The end justifies the means. Right? They don't care. All they want is what they want. And what they want is for you to stop leaving and go back into the bedroom or wherever it was, just stay. Stay and keep giving them fuel, right? So that's, the end for them. So they don't care what they have to say or do to get you to do that, because, they're fine to tell you they were sexually abused as a child if it means that you'll stay. And this is the big guns. So just quickly, they don't normally whip out the big guns, the first time that you leave. This is the kind of stuff that they will use when it looks like you really aren't going to come back, or you really are leaving. Because they're pretty sensitive. They can sense when you are serious. They have like this spidey sixth sense thing going on. God, it's getting a little bit late. I was a bit of a tongue twister. Yeah, so look, it's sympathy, it's bullshit. I've heard all kinds of ridiculous things. Oh, I was part of a cult. Like I said, oh, my grandmother abused me. Oh, I was part of a group of boys that were molested by priests. I mean, and these are all, possibilities, but isn't it amazing that they didn't tell you about it all these years until now, until today, the day when you're about to leave them once and for all? So yeah, they tell you because they think, oh, she's a warm-blooded human being and she's not going to leave me. If she knows that I've been sexually abused, fake sexually abused, she's not going to leave me. She'll stay and help me recover. And then they'll say that kind of thing as well. I need you to heal and I've never told anyone. And please stay and look after me. I don't think I can survive without you. And, you'll be there hugging them. This is why when it comes to leaving them, you just leave. You don't even have the conversation about leaving. This is exactly why, because they are so manipulative. And imagine how bad you would feel, leaving someone who's just told you that they were sexually abused. This is why they do it. It's exactly why they do it. Highly manipulative. All right, darlings, listen, it's getting pretty late. I'm going to get going. I'm tired. But please like this video and share it as well if you would like. That would be very much appreciated. I'm trying to grow the channel. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell for the notifications if you want to hear about more from Narc Free Formula. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.